Just a few weeks, New York Congressman Jamal Bowman will say farewell to Capitol Hill. The progressive congressman who grabbed headlines throughout his 4 years in Washington lost a primary earlier this year to a moderate Democrat. Kevin Fry in our Washington, D.C. bureau caught up with Bowman as he reflected on his sometimes tumultuous career in Congress.
Wish I didn't pull that damn fire alarm. You know what I'm saying?
A candid admission by Congressman Jamal Bowman about a moment that made him the butt of jokes and landed him in court, pulling an alarm in a House office building, despite there not being an emergency.
Do you think you'd be preparing for another term right now if it weren't for that fire alarm?
No, hell no. I mean, my district is a super pro-Israel district. The minute I called for a ceasefire, that was the last straw with many in the district. And I say last straw because, because I beat Elliot Engel, it was a target on my back from that community since then.
After losing a bruising June primary to fellow Democrat George Latimer, Bowman will soon be heading for the exits, capping off 4 years in Washington. He doesn't deny he's frustrated about the election results and did not shy from criticizing his fellow Democrats.
As a party, you should have never let a right-wing Democrat who's a bit older challenge Jamal Bowman in his primary, because that became a public execution for the country to see. Oh, Democrats, you're going to allow this black man to be attacked in this way? Without any pushback, without any recourse?
An outspoken progressive and member of the so-called squad, Bowman said he is very proud of his party's legislative accomplishments during his time in Congress, including approving massive spending to fight climate change and boost the domestic production of semiconductors. But he also wishes they could have done more, saying Congress can be an intransigent place.
I already knew I was impatient. So I didn't learn that. I knew I was passionate, so I didn't really learn that. I guess I learned I'm probably more built for an executive role than a legislative role.
That passion of his has, at times, come out in bursts, including in public confrontations with fellow lawmakers, like this one last year, just off the House floor, which came days after a mass shooting.
Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths.
Bowman told me if he's remembered for his passion, great.
Many people spoke to me about lack of decorum and keeping things buttoned up and all of that. But at that time, that wasn't just how I felt. That's how my constituents felt. That's how Americans felt.
Reflecting on the November elections, Bowman said Democrats did not do enough to engage with working-class people, and argued it was not smart for Kamala Harris to focus so much energy on courting Republicans and campaigning with former Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney.
We stumbled along the way in terms of, is Biden going to run or not run? And, I think in 2022 we should have made that decision. So a lot of mistakes along the way, but the biggest one for me is connecting with the real American people. Not your biggest donors, not your, ivory tower, college-educated consultants who don't know anything or very little about working-class people, especially black or brown.
As for what's next for him, Bowman said he plans to remain engaged in electoral politics, fundraising, and, as a former school principal, education.
Is there a chance we see Jamal Bowman run for Congress again in a year and a half, 2 years?
Possibly. Very slim. U.S. Senate, maybe. Governor, maybe.
At the very least, he says, he wants to keep fighting to make sure what he dubs the right people get elected. In Washington, Kevin Fry, Spectrum News.